Hello, dear listeners, welcome to Civilized Pills. I'm your host, Jack, and in today's episode, my guest is one of the legendary world's top 10 illusionists. He is one of the greatest performers and teachers of all time. As a performer, he is known primarily for his unique style. His stage performances blend elements of Kabuki and Japanese theater form with traditional conjuring, combining sleight of hand, mask, and mime. His list of awards is too long to cover all of them. Here's the several. Magician of the Year by the Magic Castle as Academy of Magic Arts. Magician of the Year by the Society of American Magicians. He is a three-time award winner at the International Grand Prix of Magic. And in 2018, he received the special award for theory and philosophy. He's also set several Guinness World Records. For the past more than 30 years, he has founded and operated the real Hogwarts in Las Vegas, McBride's Magic and Mystery School, and it's considered the most prestigious magic school in the world. We will discuss this in more detail, so please welcome Jeff McBride. Hello, Mr. McBride. How are you? Welcome to the show.
Greetings from Las Vegas. Here we are at the Magic and Mystery School in Las Vegas. And tell the listeners where you are streaming from, Jack.
I'm streaming from Tbilisi from the country Georgia.
Wonderful. Well, it's great to be on your show, and it's amazing that the magic of technology is connecting the world like this.
I'm very glad that you found time for our conversation. So I want to start our talk with your personal history. I want to start with your amazing career and with your childhood and early influences. But firstly, I'm interested in how did you meet magic?
Well, the first time I saw magic, I was very young in school, and a magician did a little card trick. All he did was produce cards from the air, abracadabra, and I was hooked. And I knew that I could learn magic in the library. So I went to the library and I started to read books on magic. And it was that time that I fell in love with card magic, simple card magic. Some of the most advanced magicians in the world only work with a deck of cards. There's magicians in Las Vegas that have their own show, like Matt Franco, who is one of my students, who really is a card magician and does card magic. The interesting thing about a young kid like me, when I was a kid, like 7 years old, when you see magic, it reminds you that anything is possible. And it's really true if you think about that. A young person can pick up a deck of cards and a book, and if they practice and they use their imagination, they can travel anywhere in the world with just a deck of cards and their talent and their skills. And it's true because magic is such an international language. So as a young kid growing up, magic was a way for me to learn about nothing is impossible. That's the magician's job, is to do the impossible. So once you can do the impossible, you can do anything. What an empowering thing for a little kid to get. So I'm in the library after I see a magician do some card magic, and I start teaching myself. There was no schools for magic back then. You know, the only thing was books in a library, and I devoured the books. I was in a little town. And it was from there that I put my small shows together. And then magic was not just a creative exercise for me. Magic was then a way for me to meet the world. I could talk to people. I could connect the people, to adults, to my peers, to any age group. I could do a little bit of magic. Took a little bit of practice, but you know, when you practice magic, you know, you learn that anything, absolutely anything, is possible, and we can change our lives with magic. So that's how I got started.
Great. I want to talk about your early and late style and differences and similarities. What was the main inspiration for your late style? I think your style is more theatrical. Probably I've ever seen magic performances.
Well, people can go online and look up Jeff McBride, magic with masks. I grew up, in the 60s and 70s was my childhood, right? So rock and roll was really big. In 1969, my parents took me to a concert called Woodstock. I'm 9 years old. It's the biggest concert in the world. It just happened to be, we lived in a little town in upstate New York near White Lake where this big concert was happening. And I went there, and that opened my mind to rock and roll. And my heroes became people like Santana, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper was very theatrical. He used magic in his show. And my thing was to combine traditional sleight of hand magic, but make it rock and roll. And I started to study rock and roll theatrics and costumes and makeup and masks. And that led me to studying pantomime, mask work. And in 1976, I went to Japan and found Kabuki theater and started experimenting with Japanese style magic and Japanese theatrics. And I put all of these together. So it was mime and magic. And I was studying martial arts and theatrical and movement and dance and energy and lights and production. So, I think kids in my era, and maybe kids today, they look at rock stars, they look at pop stars, they look at people that are poets, that are speaking important words. And I wanted to have a magic that could capture people's imaginations that was more than just card tricks, but was incredibly theatrical as well. And that was my style. And I looked to my heroes. And then in my 20s and 30s, I was opening act for Alice Cooper. And I got to travel as his opening act. How cool is that to be like in junior high school and in high school, like, listening to your favorite rock band, Alice Cooper doing illusions on stage. He did getting his head cut off, and he did all these stunts, appearing and disappearing. He loved theatrical magic. So I guess early on in my career, I kind of wanted to be the Alice Cooper of magic. Kiss was really big too. And in my early shows, I did a lot of stuff with masks, and I still do. So rock and roll.
I think in my childhood, I was probably 9 years old. I saw your acts with masks. Yes, that was the first time when I saw your performance, and it was so captivating and great.
Well, maybe your viewers can hop on YouTube after the show, or even just start running one now on a second screen so they can like keep up with it. Or I can send you some videos later on you can mix with the program.
you are the world's top performer and teacher same time. I want to talk about you as a teacher and performer. How do you see and how do you think I think it's not easy to teach and perform at the same level.
Okay. Now here's the story. You know, I got very successful very young because I had this new fresh style of magic. So in my teens and early 20s, I was, in my early 20s, I was at Caesar's Palace opening for Diana Ross, but that came after doing thousands and thousands of shows on the street, nightclubs, rock and roll, disco, New York City punk clubs, Irish bars, festivals, fairs, outdoor shows. I did a lot of shows. And those shows gave me experience, and I was able to play progressively larger and larger audiences until the point where I was at Radio City Music Hall, which is 6,000 seats. And I'm on stage doing card magic and my Kabuki magic, 6,000 seats with no screen support, at Radio City Music Hall. And Radio Music Hall, I did great there because of my movement style. People could see my magic from the back row. They could see it from the back of the theater because of my mime, dance, and martial arts training. And Radio City then took me and put me on the road. And while I was on the road and traveling, I would meet incredible magicians in Japan, South America, across the United States and Europe, and I would study with them and I would learn. We would trade magic. So I realized how much I liked learning magic as a student. I knew what a hungry student wanted to learn. Now, many people want to learn different things, and I learned all the different things, not just how the magic works, but why it works, the psychology, the philosophy, the theory behind it. Then also what I learned is how to get the magic on an airplane and transport it to the other side of the world. Touring, lighting, rock and roll, production, ticket sales, traveling, management, all of the other skills that it's, magic is not just card tricks. Magic is like big show business. And when we tour Asia, we're touring with trucks, we're going to arenas with our show and cameras and big illusions and to put on these big productions. So I started to, as I learned in my 20s and early 30s, I learned all of this stuff. And I realized this. At that time, and still today, as of June 29th to 2023, the world's greatest magician is probably David Copperfield. Because of the amount of shows he's done, he's sold more tickets as a solo artist than anyone in history. As a solo artist. That's more than Madonna, that's more than any solo artist. He hasn't sold maybe as many tickets as the Rolling Stones, but that's a group. As a solo artist, he's done more shows and sold more tickets. And I realized probably in my early 30s that I probably was not going to take his position as the world's greatest magician. So I thought to myself, what am I at the best at? Well, I'm a really good magic student. Maybe I can be the world's greatest magic student and learn more about magic while I'm performing. And I'm still traveling. So anytime I'm traveling, I'm meeting magicians, I'm meeting the elders, I'm meeting the young guys. We're trading magic, we're sharing magic, and I'm collecting knowledge from all over the world. So I become a passionate collector of knowledge and magic secrets and magic technology. So I think it wasn't just, I'm a performer and a teacher. No, I wanted to become the world's greatest magic student.
Great. To talk about real Hogwarts, where you are right now, McBride's Magic and Mystery School, the place where the magicians learn the real secrets of magic.
Every year, magicians gather from around the world at the McBride Magic and Mystery School in Las Vegas. They come to learn the magic behind the tricks.
What we do at our mystery school is give people a deep magical experience, those that really want to go deeper into the art of magic.
Many magicians are very busy just trying to imitate other magicians, trying to imitate the DVD they saw. The question I'd like you to take home with you is, what do I want my magic to be?
The study and practice of magic is very real. The research, the optical principles, the psychological principles that go into magic take years of study to understand the subtleties. And fitting these all together takes a lifetime.
A new breed of magicians are looking beyond the tricks to the message that magic communicates to an audience.
Magic is a way of looking at the world. Magic is a philosophy. It's a way of challenging perceptions and not accepting what's handed to you.
Magic is not tricks. It is a way. It's about understanding the relationship between magic and life. That your life can be magical.
Magic reminds us that all of that we know can fall away at any given moment, that reality is subject to change without notice.
Some of the world's most celebrated magicians come to the Mystery School to share their experiences with a new generation of magicians.
I have been doing the art of magic since I was 7 years old. That's my trade, that's what I do. I love the art of magic like Jeff loves the art of magic. And I want magic to garner the respect that it deserves, like the cinema, like musicians. I think it's about you guys taking it to the next level. We're a team, and we're here for the cause of magic.
The primary metaphor of magic is transformation, change. You know the trick with the rings that everyone has seen magicians do? Well, what's that about? Well, on the superficial, outward level, it's about rings linking and unlinking. But on the inner level, the psychological level, the message of the rings is the separate can be joined in community, in friendship, in love.
When the magician levitates on stage, he's also saying, hey, it's possible to leave the burdens of the heavy, everyday material world behind and rise above them and consider the possibilities of what's out there that you've never considered before.
Magic reminds us that we are living in the middle of a capital M mystery. Experiencing mystery, understanding that you, me, we're living in the middle of a mystery. This is transformative for our lives and for the world.
Let's see. Magic is a very ancient art. The tools of the magician have been passed down from magician to magician since the dawn of time. The magic wand is an ancient symbol that's been passed down, and magic is the art of transformation. It reminds us that all things change. All things change. And that's the essence of the art of magic, is that all things change. Well, I changed over the years too. I changed from being a performer to a student, and then I met Eugene Berger, and we started the Mystery School. Why? Because I realized that very early on, I had achieved my childhood dreams of being a performer traveling the world. I did it. And I wanted something more beyond that. So I started studying with Eugene Berger, and I always keep a little candle lit for Eugene over here. He passed away a number of years ago. He was our first dean of the Magic and Mystery School. So many years ago, over 30 years ago, I said, okay, I want to spend a week with Eugene Berger. He lives in Chicago. I live in New York. How are we going to arrange this? So I say, I'm going to create a conference at a retreat center, not a hotel. a retreat center up in the country, beautiful place in the woods with nice cabins and nice accommodations. And there's a little theater and it's in nature and there's food there and everything's really nice for a retreat. And I invite 30 of my friends and Eugene Berger. Now, we were thinking of a name, and the name that we came up with after a while was Mystery School, because it harkened back to the ancient Hellenistic mystery schools where the secrets of magic were passed down from magician to magician to magician. And so we did that. We had that. And then that became a tradition of transformation where the secrets of magic are handed down to future generations. And over the years, we've had many of the top magician thinkers, philosophers, and they have contributed and taught our students. We used to come together only once a year for the first few years. But then so many people wanted to come, we had to open it up all year round, and we had to design a special system to be able to teach different people the different styles of magic they want. Because people come to our school that are not necessarily professional magicians. People come to us that are hobbyists, that love magic, that love the history of magic, that love to collect magic. And I say this because if we compare magic, the world of magic, the culture of magic, the community of magic, to something like opera, most of the people that go to the opera that have season tickets, they know the history. They know the famous singers. They know the set designers, the costume designers, the lighting designers. They know all of the librettos, all of the stories, but they maybe don't sing. Not everybody that goes to the opera is a singer, and not everybody that loves magic is a performer. So we have different classes for different people's passions. Some people want to learn some card magic because they want to share it with their friends, or they think it's interesting. They want to perform for their friends and family. So we have classes for that. Other people want to become part-time magicians. They have a job, or they want to go out and do shows. Maybe they want to do restaurant magic. Maybe they want to travel and do magic for friends to meet people. Maybe they want to do fundraiser shows for their organizations or their company or some of the other ventures that they're in, like schools or churches or other charities. Then there are other people that want to go win magic competitions. They want to compete on a high level, and I work with those people and I help them win. I had 2 people in the World Championships win this year. First place. That's pretty great. And we help young students, and we help people that are professionals that might use a little bit of magic in their business, or at a talk, or at a function, or at a conference. To when they're on stage, they'll do a little magic to get the attention of the room, or to add a little variety. We work with doctors. Many doctors use magic for their patients to help calm them down or to create a human touch. Some doctors, they love a challenge and they like very difficult magic. Other doctors use magic in their medical talks, again, to be able to gain focus of the room and to give them a little texture and variety to their presentations. We work with people that are platform speakers. So our school developed out of the needs of the community. Some want close-up magic. Some want parlor magic, street magic, escapes. We have special classes for women only. We have special classes for people that just do mind reading. We have special classes that for people that are just want to explore the art of quick change costumes. So we have all of these different classes that we've developed over the years, and people can attend online. Because if you go to magicalwisdom.com, we have online classes every week. So if you're magic curious and you want to open yourself to just a little pinch of magic, and make your friends smile, we can teach you some magic, how to do it, where to do it, how not to get caught, you know. And magic is a great tool that opens you up to the possibilities of the world. And we get together every week, and we have many classes that people can attend or watch on demand. You know, if you're in a different time zone, we have all of our programs recorded so you can watch them on demand.
And, besides the Prize Magic Industries, you coached a lot of magicians who are stars right now, and so many award-winning magicians also. What's the process to make to work with this kind of magicians, professional magicians?
Well, you know, it's as much their dedication as it is mine. I'm not sure I can do a screen share. Can you give me host privileges so I can do a screen share?
Sure. Wait.
And I'll show you just a photo of one of our students. And you know, it's good to develop a relationship with a student that lasts over the years. And one of my students, Matt Franco, started here when he was 12 years old. And now, if you make me host, I can share my screen. Change. Okay, here we go. Thank you. So here we are. You know, this was Matt Franco when he showed up at our school, 12 years old.
Yes.
And he was the first magician to win America's Got Talent. And that picture's taken right here. Right. And that's, you know, 2018. He's been a headliner in Las Vegas, making millions of dollars. And he's a sleight of hand guy. You know, he's a sleight of hand magician. You know, he uses cards, coins, and balls and practices his magic so he can amaze the masses. Let me put this one down because I have another one over here. Wait a minute. There's another one there. Hold on a second here. Yep. So he practiced. I think that's the most impressive thing. Let me put that one down. I'll take this one here. Oh, what's that one? And that one. And that one. And you take this one. So practice, but having a good coach. He studied with me for many, many years. First on video. He met me through videos. And then he came to Las Vegas to mystery school. And I'm going to see him tomorrow night. I'm taking one of my students who's going to be, she's 11 years old. Most of my students are adults in their, 40s and 50s and, 60s. But sometimes I work with young people like Matt Franco, and I'm working with another young lady right now whose name is Rachel Ling Gordon. And she's going to be on a national TV show, in a competition show. I can't tell you which one. But we're going to see Matt Franco tomorrow night in Las Vegas. I'm going to introduce them, and he's going to give her some tips and coach her up a little bit too for television. When you think you can become, America's Got Talent is the greatest talent competition the world has ever known. It has made many people multimillionaires. And you have to realize that Matt Franco started with a deck of cards and a magic book from a library. And now he's a millionaire helping other people live the dream. And that's what it's all about. It's sharing the spotlight.
What do you think? What happens for example, AGT competition when magicians, I think, doing some kind of commercial tricks? I'm very interested in your opinion about that.
Well, remember, what's commercial to magicians is not necessarily seen by the regular audience. I think it was on Britain's Got Talent, Jamie Raven performed Dan Harlan's cartoon, and it was sensational. Yes. Because the way it was filmed. Magic doesn't have to be difficult or even original to be extraordinarily entertaining. Sometimes magicians know too much, and they forget they forget about some of the first tricks that they saw, that, like, like, I don't know if you've ever seen this.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
excuse me. It's a fabulous trick, and I can still surprise a magician with that trick.
Yes. Yes.
As a matter of fact, one of the great magician and juggler variety artists of our time, Charlie Fry, who is wonderful, watch everything he's ever done. He's incredible. He takes simple tricks that magicians have discarded years ago because they think they're kids' tricks, and he makes them into masterpieces.
Yes.
And the magicians watch this. They go, I threw that trick out when I was 12 years old, and look what he just did with it.
Yes. And I just remembered Eugene Burgers once said, if you find your level of technique, you can be a star.
Yep, that's right. That's right. And I'll add to that for the magicians here. That's right. Eugene said that, and you have a good memory, and that's a good thing to pass on. You have to find, and now we call it finding your lane, finding what you're good at. Larry Haas, who's the new dean of the school, Eugene passed his wand on to Larry Haas. Larry Haas says it's good for magicians to practice at their edges, to practice the really hard stuff. But when they perform from their total confident safe space. So they're not nervous to expose or to drop or to make mistakes. So practice at your edge, but perform from your center. Do the techniques you've mastered 100% that have zero chance of misfiring. But when you practice at the extremes. Okay, your audio dropped out. I need you to repeat that because your audio dropped out. It's okay. I'm in America, so what was the question? I couldn't hear it.
Okay, my question was, what's the main differences and common things in various generations of your students, both professional magicians and magic lovers, also? Your observations over 30 years of teaching and
All right. I have an answer to this. This is interesting. There are generational differences. My contemporaries, Lance Burton, Kevin James, Rudy Kobe,
yes,
Brett Daniels, Franz Harari, Pendragon, my contemporaries.
Yes.
These are the people that I grew up working with, and they were working. Mark Kalin and Ginger. And if you don't know these names, they were all people that were born late 50s, early 60s.
I know.
Okay. Now, there was very little television magic. Very little. There was some, but not a lot. There was Mark Wilson, who did grand illusions and a little bit of close-up. But most of us we studied books.
Yes.
And those books were about the golden age of magic. The people that were the big stars were Houdini and Blackstone and Thurston and maybe a little bit of Carter, but these big with girls. And if you were a magician, you were on stage. You were on, if you were a big magician, you were on stage. Close-up magic hadn't been invented until Max Maven did the research that traces real close-up magic to Chicago with Matt Schulian. But that's a whole different story. There was parlor magic, but there wasn't like at your table close-up magic until Bert Allerton at the Pump Room in Chicago and then Matt Schulian were sharing the same space. That's close-up magic, when you share the same social space. So we have different types of magic developing. All of our contemporaries and people that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s, their idea of magic is the golden age of magic. Big stage shows. Lance Burton, contemporary. He had a big classic, like Blackstone style, Thurston style magic show in Vegas. You know, producing ducks, producing birds, big illusions, sawing in half, levitation, appearing in a disappearing car, big magic. Now you have the people that were born in the 70s and 80s that started, and 90s, that started to experience magic on a phone when they came of age. And now magic shrunk. And magic was very accessible to people, where in the 60s and 70s, there was only 3 networks in America. Now there's hundreds of channels. And you can watch, if you go on the internet, you can watch magic around the clock and absorb magic. You can watch tutorials, you can watch TikTok, Facebook, you can watch, it wasn't that case. In our generation, you might see one blip of magic a month in the media. Boop, somebody appears on the Johnny Carson show. Shimada appears on a talk show. Ricky Jay appears somewhere. Maybe once a year, there's a special by Mark Wilson or Doug Henning. Once a year. And everything else is just like little blips, and there's no video recording. Now with the advent in the 80s, late 70s, 80s of video, now videos can travel. And media starts influencing the magic and the way people consume magic on small screens. So the magicians today consume 90% of their magic on their phone. Most people see magic only on their phone and very rarely live. But what Paul Daniels figured out many, many years ago is when he was on his show, he produced in his show a little mouse.
Yes.
A little mouse out of a matchbox, right? Little tiny mouse. Oh, it's time to eat. And he realized that on a television screen, a mouse is the same size as an elephant. So now there's a great equality of magicians. Magic is no longer based on stage spectacle, but how well you can connect to the home viewer through the screen. So everything shifts. And now, in the past, you had to have a magician like Siegfried and Roy with tigers, but now a mouse is the same size on the screen. Look, it's bigger than the screen. Can't even fit it in the frame, and it's a mouse, right? So now, playing cards and small objects and coins and small things can be seen all over the world simultaneously. And that's why you now have magicians like Shin Lim in Vegas that works with a deck of cards. Because the media can magnify the magic, not just finances. You don't need $100,000 to do a big stage show. All you need is 100,000 hours of practice.
Please. Yes.
And that's the big difference. Before we needed 100,000 in cash, now you need 100,000 in technique.
Yes. And you just mentioned television, and I want to ask about magic and technology interaction through history. And I'm interested in your visions, not only about the future and presentational forms of magic and conjuring art, but also about other art forms. Once Max Maven, besides he also did TV specials. He said, magic for TV is like a pornography for me. And it was the comparison for the live show and the TV magic. And firstly, I'm interested, of course, your visions on modern TV and digital social magic.
Well, I think television is, and all media, I mean, television is not television now. Media, content, we just call it content now because most people don't watch a TV anymore. Most people are watching their phone. Most people are getting their magic on the phone or on their laptop computer. Very few people, I think, are watching magic on TV. I don't think people watch magic on TV. I think they watch it on demand. They might watch Penn and Teller's Fool Us live on television, and that's great. And I think all media is good marketing for magic. Penn and Teller's show Fool Us gets people to go to live magic shows.
Yes.
Penn and Teller have a show that promotes magic in the media, and it promotes them as the kings of magic, being, holding court, having all the other magicians come in and entertain them, Penn and Teller, And it makes them look real good because they're real smart guys. They're probably some of the smartest guys in the world, Penn and Teller, on many levels, not just magic, because they're interested in so many other parts of culture. They're interested in film and movie and politics and music. I mean, few people know more about music than Penn. Few people know more than theater than Teller. So they have this incredible range, and when they put it together, it's just an unstoppable force of creativity. And they use their powers to promote other people. Isn't that good? Maybe we can learn from that. David Copperfield uses his Project Magic to help occupational therapists learn how to rehabilitate people in hospitals and empower them through magic. So it's using the magic sometimes to greater ends. And I think that the media can bring magic to more people quicker than anything else, but really magic needs to be experienced live. Because I know even doing a podcast in Georgia, there are people watching that might tune into our Monday night show. You can come into our Monday night show live for free. The first Monday of every month is free. The first Monday of every month, McBrideMagic.tv. You can get it, you can go to our Mystery School website. You can get on for free and watch an hour program. Next week is Pop Hayden. We've had Max, we've had Copperfield, we've had top stars in magic, Matt Franco, Shin Lim, before he was famous, and Colin Cloud comes on. all of the different people that you see on all of these different shows come on our show, and we talk magic, and it's a very interesting look into the world of Mystery School, and it's free for the first Monday of every month, and then we have private classes the rest of the month, but we opened it up for free to the world during the pandemic, and we wanted to keep it that way because there's a lot of people probably listening to the show that want something more than tricks. Some people are satisfied with tricks, and that's cool. Some people watch this podcast, they'll go to a magic shop online, they'll buy some tricks, do it for their friends. Cool, perfect. There's a whole philosophy built around that. Andy at the Jerks website. I don't know if you know Andy at the Jerks. He's got a whole philosophy of magic that's built around magic enthusiasts. That you don't need to be a professional performer with a tuxedo and a top hat to be a magician. You can be cool just learning a card trick and do it for your friends, and that's cool too. And that's why magic is so great, is because there's access to magic at every level. You can just do it for your friends, you can do it for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. And if you want to go up the ranks and increase your proficiency to work in various different venues, our school is here to teach you those lessons to shave years off of your learning curve. And the other wonderful thing is that I think I have a thing right here. Yeah, is that if people are interested where they are, they can join me here. I do private coaching online, right? So I work with magicians in Serbia, and I work with magicians in France, and I work with magicians in Singapore, and I work with magicians all over the world, China, Japan, and we go on Zoom, and I can have a magic class, and that's what I do most of the days. I think later today, I have a class. Yeah, I had a class in Serbia today, in Florida, and in California today with private students.
For our listeners, I want to talk about magic as philosophy. You have a great project, Magic and Meaning Conferences.
Hmm.
Uh, Great projects, but I'm interested in your attitude towards magic and philosophy.
Well,
through,
you
through
know,
magic.
years ago, we did a project called Magic and Meaning, which was for people that wanted to explore many facets of magic: anthropology, the history, sociology of magic, um, how magic is used in medicine, how is it used in science, how is it used in public speaking. So we developed these things called the pep talks, which means for philosophy, entertainment, and performance. And it's like the TED Talks of magic. As a matter of fact, we were doing it so long that years ago we had to explain to people what TED Talks were, because they didn't know, because the TED Talks were very new. But we've been doing these talks with all different brilliant performers. We do them online at our Magic and Meaning conference. So these are our pep talks, and there's many. This is the Mystery School site right here, magicalwisdom.com. You can become a member for it's so reasonable. And there are all of these pep talks on magic that are available. I can't log in for you right now because you'll see my login code. But there are more pep talks that are available on our website. So there's a lot of stuff here. There's our newsletter, which you can get. Our newsletter is always interesting and will be available for you. Those are all free. Mystery School Monday is our Monday night classes, and you can watch many free episodes. Many free episodes you can get on our school website here. So there's many. These are all the open house episodes. Here's Justin Willman, Bob Neal, Jackie Yu. Copperfield is in here. David Copperfield spends an hour with us. We have specials on bizarre magic. We have, a special on Shamata. And Mario the Maker, Aussie Wind came in and did one for us. Talks about his success. So these are all free episodes that people can come in and watch and learn. We spent an hour with David Copperfield because he came in and shared his magic with us from his incredible museum. So these are all, and it's not like one philosophy. It's everybody's take. It's this extraordinarily wide-ranging um, school on all of these different topics of magic. And we talk about ethics, and you touched on it before, there's a lot of media exposure, on social media. There's people that just put up free access videos of tricks they did not invent, and they're just they say tutorials, they're just exposés. But we have to remember what Eugene Berger said. The real secrets of magic are not on videos, and they're not even in books. The real secrets of magic are handed down from teacher to student in whispers.
I'm very interested in your life-changing moments, maybe little small things which provoke the biggest changes and transformations in your worldview and philosophy and your life.
Well, I'll tell you, as a kid, I think magic teaches us different things at different times. As a kid, when I looked at Henry Hayes' Amateur Magician's Book of Magic and I saw card productions, I thought that was impossible until I practiced. And then I learned that it is indeed possible to do these things, right? So as a kid, it's magic transformed the impossible. I can do this. I can do this. And then later on, life changing for me was like doing shows and connecting with adults. Because a kid can't connect with adults because adults are having adult conversation. You're a kid. But magic, when you have magic, wow, adults pay attention to you. And it was a way of me connecting with people that were older than me, like Eugene. And now it was a way of life change. I could travel the world. When I went to Japan and I saw Kabuki theater the first time, wow, that changed my life. Magic allowed me to travel internationally so I could live in other countries and learn the language and learn about the people and the culture. Life transforming. Winning awards and getting opportunities to do big TV shows. Life transforming. And then meeting my friends and fans and students and helping them achieve their stardom, like Matt Franco. Hey, I helped that kid learn card magic, and now he's doing it every night on stage in Las Vegas.
What do you think?
Transforming.
Yes. What do you think? What's the most important thing that magic can tell us about our civilization?
Well, I think that there are no limits to creativity. I think that's the most important thing, that there are no limits to creativity. And we can't set limits on our own creativity or potential, that everybody has great potential. Magic teaches us this. Magic can change the way we think about the world. Something clicks, and we realize that I can do this.
Once you said we are all magicians.
I believe we are. We all have the same tools. We all have the same senses. And whether you're a student or an accountant or a lawyer or a truck driver or a cook, we all use our talents to transform things to make the world a better place.
I want to talk about your hobbies and other interests outside the magic.
Mhm.
Magic. Which things do you love to do in art and in general, except magic?
Well, you know who's explored this in detail is the great master from Spain, Juan Tamariz. He talks about one of the things that makes magicians interesting is their other interests and what he calls the rich interior life. Having a rich interior life. Eugene Berger had a rich interior life. He was a storyteller. He was a philosopher. And all of these things informed his magic. And the things that inform my magic are all these interests through the years that I've picked up, whether it's martial arts when I was a kid, and then pantomime and masks I've always loved. And I've always folded my passions into my magic to make my magic more than just tricks. And I think this is one of the most important things that I share with the magicians is to study things like I can see you study music because of the records on your wall. And you're a reader of books and you want to fold these passions, these things that you know about deeply. So there's a magician friend of mine who's a screenwriter who does a whole magic show around Hollywood movies and Hollywood screenwriting because it's fascinating. And he uses all props from Hollywood movies and scripts instead of book tests and things. And I had one magician who's interested in golf. That's his passion. Not just golf, but antique golf, antique Scottish golf. He's got a whole show around and it's fascinating about antique golf. Not modern golf, antique golf. And he uses the props to tell the story of the history. And it's fascinating. I have my next door neighbor loves marionettes. He loves puppets. And all of his magic is done with puppets. I have a friend who's a ventriloquist that adds his ventriloquism into the magic. I have a friend that's a cook, a professional chef, and he does kitchen magician, and he does a whole show that's foodie. So he has got, a whole food show. I have a friend who's a psychotherapist, and instead of using playing cards, he uses cards that have emotions on them. Right? Right? So he uses magic as a psychological tool. Doctors use it, as part of the way to, like I said, to gain rapport. So putting your passion into the magic, this is what I think is very important for me, is if the audience just goes, how did you do that? I've kind of failed. Because magic is more than just a puzzle, Magic is more than just a puzzle.
Yes.
Like, I'll give you, for instance here. I tell my audiences that if they sit there and just try to figure out the tricks, what will happen is this. Their brain will get tied in a knot, and that knot will get tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter. That's your brain on magic. Any questions? And my goal as a magician is to not fool you or trick you. My goal is to help you relax those knots. Take a deep breath, and all those knots will melt away like magic. Oh. See, that's the proper response to magic. Oh. Because the way we experience a magic show is the way we experience life. Either it's a puzzle to be solved or a mystery to be experienced. And when I look out into the audience, I see two different types of people. The people that are like, how does he do it? And the other people that are like, wow, isn't that wonderful? Some people like to try to figure it out, and some people like to sit back and enjoy the mystery. But remember, the way you watch a magic show is the way you experience life. Either it's a puzzle or a knot in your brain, or it's a mystery to be experienced. And if you relax and just open yourself to experiencing the magic, you'll experience magic in a whole new way. Oh yes, you'll experience magic in a whole new way. So in the end, I want the people to go wow instead of how. I want my magic to have more feeling than fooling. And I want my magic to have more truth than trick.
And you once said your famous quote, there's a thinking audiences and drinking audiences. I think Eugene once said it's your quote. So we just educate our audiences, and he make an example of clapping hands. He just mentioned you the quotes, famous quote, to
Well,
educate our audiences.
if the audience isn't playing by my rules, they're playing for somebody else's rules. Many audiences think their role is to figure the trick out. And if I say no, magic is not about the trick, that's a puzzle. My magic is about something different. And you can either look at my tonight as a puzzle, or you can look at as a mystery and a possibility. I let you off the hook. You don't have to figure the tricks out all night. I think good magic is more than tricks. As Tenkai said, magic is more than tricks. It is a way. It is a way of life, and it's different for different people. Magic is a great tool for empowerment. A young magician sees something on the internet and goes, wow, I could do that. And then practices or reads it in a book or watches a tutorial expose, and all of a sudden they can do this amazing thing that maybe brings a little joy to the world. And in the end, we work with doctors a lot. And one of the philosophies of Tibetan medicine is that anything that creates a temporary healing is medicine. Anything that stops suffering is medicine. And the Native Americans have an expression, medicine. There's medicine stories that are healing. There are medicine songs. There are medicine foods. And magic is good medicine, because when you're experiencing magic in that state of wonder and astonishment, all of a sudden something changes, and maybe there's a little less pain in the world. So maybe if your parents ever wanted you to become a doctor, maybe you got a little bit closer than they ever expected. I'm going to go on to my next appointment. I've invited you to the mystery school. You can get there very easily. Thank you for bringing this message to your part of the world. Perhaps I'll see you on Monday nights and even learn how to pronounce your last names. I hope so, because I have friends and students all around the world. Thank you, Jack, and thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Jeff
Thank you.
McBride at the Magic and Mystery School saying good night to all my friends around the world. Whoa, whoa, whoa.